Can you drive for DoorDash full-time? Well, after driving both part-time and yes, full-time for DoorDash in different marketplaces from the West Coast to here on the East Coast, I'm going to answer that question in this video. But if I just told you yes or no, chances are you wouldn't believe me. So we need to consider several important factors to actually answer this question. Can you drive for DoorDash full-time this year? Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike. On this channel, I help you with the gig economy, your side hustle, your full-time hustle, making money and creating multiple revenue streams. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. And speaking of your side or full-time hustle, make sure you have the best accessories so you don't waste your time in your hustle. Visit my Amazon storefront, that linked down below. So again, this is kind of a complicated question, one that I can't just right now say yes or no. We have to consider a few things, of course. Number one, just to give you some, again, context, I've driven in San Diego, California, as well as here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on the DoorDash platform. And yes, I've driven part-time hours and full-time hours on the platform. And lifetime, over 1,600 completed deliveries. Okay, so firstly, if we're gonna decide, can you drive full-time for DoorDash this year, we kind of need to define, okay, what constitutes full-time? Because honestly, most every app in the gig economy, I mean, you can do it full-time, right? You can drive 35, 40, 50 hours a week, and that constitutes 40 plus hours a week, that constitutes full-time driving. So obviously, it's more than just hours, right? We can assume, yes, you can drive 40 plus hours, but for the purposes of this video, let's assume 40 hours of driving full-time, but making enough money to cover living expenses and just your standard of living. Now, even that definition, standard of living, is gonna vary, right? Based on yourself, based on me, or someone else watching this video. So let's turn our attention to some of the actual numbers, the finances, and then later trends, what's happening on the DoorDash platform this year, and then ultimately a verdict to hopefully better answer this question. So what you're looking at right here, and actually you can get a copy of this for free, go to yourdrivermike.com. I made this available based on Excel or numbers. If you're on Mac OS, it'll work with either one. Again, that's free provided to you. So what you're looking at right now, we have everything from the markets, because if you didn't know, DoorDash is breaking up your market into several smaller marketplaces. So different marketplaces, and then bonuses, bonus pay, that's peak pay, that's a per delivery bonus. On that shift, any applicable times there, it's recorded with the peak pay, of course, the hours that I drove, gross revenue, and then gross revenue per hour, that's something that I really want to pay attention to. So honestly, let's just look at some of these gross earnings per hour for some of these shifts here. Now, number one, note here, and actually let me know down below in the comments, if we look at the bonus column, again, this is the peak pay. So if it's busy enough on DoorDash, they'll offer you an extra per delivery bonus. Again, we can see here, $2, $5, $4, $3, $2 extra for every delivery. So let me know down below in the comments, does your marketplace get peak pay? And if your answer is no, or like, hey, I never see $5 peak pay, that's crazy, I'm going to comment on that in a little bit. So, okay, we see the bonus pay here. But again, I'm gonna make it real simple for us. Let's look at this gross revenue per hour. Let's just see what we're looking at here. $17.44 per hour, 31 per hour, that's exceptional, 32, I see 32 again. I see 11, there's a slow shift, 26, etc., right? So generally that sounds pretty good. And again, if we scroll down, we'll see some pretty good numbers. Again, this is gross revenue per hour. Basically, you know, what did I make for the entire day divided by the hours that I drove here. So if I scroll down here, just for, again, you can see shifts from, what was it, June until November of 2020. I averaged $24.88 gross revenue per hour. Okay, so making sense of that number, I wanna ask you a question. We saw $25 an hour, that's average, that's across all of those shifts from June until November of 2020. So my question to you, are you making $25 an hour in gross revenue, more, maybe a little bit less, driving for DoorDash? Let me know down below in the comments, because now let's start transitioning to trends and making sense of these numbers here. So I mentioned to you that I showed you those numbers because that's really when it was most busy, at least in my opinion, in San Diego specifically. So what you're gonna find, in my opinion, is your payouts on DoorDash. It's gonna vary based on, hey, am I driving in San Diego? It's a big marketplace, 3+ million, tons of restaurants, maybe some more drivers, but again, it's a pretty big marketplace. Versus here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I have not seen $5 peak pay. That's pretty crazy, right? $6 peak pay that I saw in San Diego. But I'm gonna also make a trend analysis here because I'm seeing something in San Diego as well. Let's talk about trends here because this is very important. Lean in for this because this basically answers our question here. What do the numbers say? So whenever you're out there driving, I want you to answer this question. What is the average payout per order here? So again, if I'm averaging $25 an hour, and you can see here some of the deliveries, I did 7 deliveries, 6 deliveries, 4 deliveries, etc. And we can also see the hours that I drove in that shift here. I mean, you can basically calculate the payout per order. So question for you again, is your payout per order, is it $6? Is it $8 or is it $10+ on average every single order? So here is how, based on the numbers, we're gonna really answer this question here. If you answered yes, if you said my average payout is $8, $10+, and or if you're getting paid $2+ per mile, because again, in this documentation, there's a column for miles, right? You need to be recording your business miles. So if you're getting paid out $2+ a mile, and or if you're getting an average payout of $8, $9, $10+, you may be able to do DoorDash full time. So going back to the numbers here, specifically the peak pay bonus on DoorDash, we saw what? We saw $3, $6.50 bonus. I see a $7 peak pay bonus, $4.50, etc. If your marketplace, whatever it is, back in mid 2020 was giving out $3, $4 bonuses, what I was seeing in San Diego, really late Q3, Q4, was the average peak pay bonus was going down. I mean, we can see it right here on some of these shifts in November. We see a $2 peak pay bonus. Now, yes, shortly earlier in that month, we saw a $5 bonus, but as I was really leaving San Diego, I was moving here to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, right? I was seeing a downward trend with peak pay. Again, it was really paying out less than it typically would, let's say Q1 or Q2 of 2020. Okay, so now let's make sense of this for your specific marketplace. Here's what you're gonna do. And this doesn't matter if you're doing this as a side hustle or a full-time hustle, it doesn't matter. We're gonna look at the actual trend analysis for your specific marketplace. So remember, I mentioned, okay, I'm thinking that peak pay bonuses are going down in San Diego in Q3 and Q4 of 2020. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna look at your numbers. It doesn't matter, again, if you've been doing this for a week, if you've been doing this for years, look at the numbers and see in your specific marketplace, does it make sense to do this full time? Now, one word of caution here, because you're gonna start to look at your numbers, or maybe you've already been looking at your numbers in your own marketplace. Remember, I was noticing a downward trend in peak pay, the bonus pay in Q3 and Q4 back in San Diego. So if you're doing the same thing and you start seeing a downward trend, I would not immediately make radical changes to the platform. I wouldn't just massively pivot to other platforms in general, let's say Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub, etc. I wouldn't do anything too drastic until you're really starting to see a trend line over ideally 2 quarters or really 3 quarters in that year. I say that because yes, there's seasonality, there's different things in maybe your specific marketplace that may affect the actual profitability of driving for DoorDash. This is up to you. This is up to you to look at the numbers and say, okay, is this a one-time fluctuation or is this a continuing trend in my marketplace? I would say, what do the numbers tell you? Because generally I would say yes, but only in certain marketplaces. In fact, let's see what you had to say. When I asked you the very same question, can you do DoorDash full time with 2,200 respondents? It was kind of the same answer. It was yes, but it was kind of also no, a pretty decent split here. Basically, I can't say for sure if you specifically can do DoorDash full time. This is a team here, you're gonna have to look at your numbers because frankly, I could do, and I did, DoorDash full time in San Diego, but maybe the pay isn't as good now, right? Now I'm in a different marketplace. So I really got to look at my numbers, consider the wear and tear on my vehicle, the depreciation of that vehicle over time, my expenses, changes in a marketplace, competition, etc. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. How would you answer this question? Can you drive for DoorDash full-time in your specific marketplace? Because honestly, my answer would change based on when you asked me this question and where I was driving in. So my goal for you is to really make this year the year that it really doesn't matter how you answer this question. If you're doing this as a side hustle or a full-time hustle, you won't be affected if something does happen to you or the platform. So if you got value in this video, definitely drop me a like. And you can also click or tap the screen here for my most recent video, as well as a video recommended for you. And I'll see you in the next one.